Hi, this is Mrs. Robertson. Today in Math 7, we are going to start Chapter 6. This is going to be an easier chapter than the last chapter, I think, for you. In Chapter 6, Lesson 1, we are going to learn how to solve one-step addition and subtraction equations. We have already worked on this. We worked on it earlier in the year, and we're just going to build upon our skills here. So we're going to start off reviewing some of our vocabulary words on page 437. It says, an equation is a sentence stating that two quantities are equal. The value of a variable that makes an equation true is called the solution of the equation. Sometimes we would refer to it as the answer or the value. The equations x plus 2 equals 6 and x equals 4 are equivalent equations. Why? Because they have the same solution of 4. It says circle the equations below that are equivalent to x equals 3. Use algebra tiles if needed. So right now at this time, go ahead and circle the ones that are true for x equals 3. You should have circled this one and x plus 2 equals 5. Those are all true equations for the solution of x equals 3. Now let's look at the real world link. Video games. Robin had some video games and then she bought 4 more games. Now she has 10 games. This scenario can be described using the equation x plus 4 equals 10. She had some games, she bought 4 more games, and now she has 10. What does x represent in the equation? X equals number of games Robin started with. Question number 2. Write 2 different equations that are equivalent to x plus 4 equals 10. Well, you could just say the solution, x equals 6. You could say 2x equals 12. Those are just a couple examples of what you could use for that. Okay, now let's turn to page 438 and look at the subtraction property of equality. This is on page 438. Words. The subtraction property of equality states that the two sides of an equation remain equal when you subtract the same number from each side. So, A equals B. If A equals B, then A minus C equals B minus C. So, it would not have to be the variable C. You could have used another variable, but we're going to see how it is true in the examples. I think once again it'll make more sense when you see how to do the examples. Solve x plus 6 equals 4. Check your solution. X plus 6 equals 4. We have to get rid of a plus x to solve for x. To get x all by itself, you're isolating the x. That's what you're doing. So to get rid of a plus x, you minus x. X equals negative 2. Then you do the check. If you replace x with negative 2, does negative 2 plus 6 equal 4? Yes, it does. I think you remember doing this earlier in the year. Now let's look at example 2. Here we have to get b by itself. What's the opposite of adding 8? Subtracting 8. You subtract 8 from this side of the equal sign and the left side of the equal sign. Now when you subtract, you add the opposite. Negative 5 plus negative 8 equals a negative 13. and then you check. Replace b with negative 13. Does negative 5 equal negative 13 plus 8? Yes, it does. All right. Now, the important part here, you have to show your steps and line up your equal sign. On the problems here, I know that everyone in here knows that 3 plus 6 equals 9, but we are going to show our steps and how we balance the equation. So, here we go. Minus 6, draw your line, bring down the equal sign, y equals 3. And they want you to do the check step. Does 3 plus 6 equal 9? Yes, it does. And put a check mark by your check step. Let's do letter B. We want to get x by itself. What will undo adding 3? Subtracting 3. Draw your line. Bring your equal sign down. X equals 1 minus 3. Add the opposite. The answer is going to be negative 2. Now let's check it. Does negative 2 plus 3 equal 1? Yes, it does. Letter C. To solve for A, we have to get rid of the plus 4. Minus 4 minus 4. Draw your line. And yes, you have to draw that line. Put your equal sign. Bring down your A. Here you will add the opposite. Negative 3 plus negative 4 gives you the answer negative 7. So, let's replace A with negative 7. Does negative 3 equal negative 7 plus 4? Yes, it does. Okay, let's go on to page 439. Example 3. An angelfish can grow to be 12 inches long. If an angelfish is 8.5 inches longer than a clownfish, how long can a clownfish? How long is a clownfish? Okay, sorry about that. Words. An angelfish is 8.5 inches longer than a clownfish. Variable. They've defined the variable as c. Let c represent the length of the clownfish. The equation, 12 equals clownfish plus 8.5 inches. Now, solve the equation. Subtract 8 and 5/10 from both sides. 3.5 equals the clownfish, so the clownfish is 3.5 inches long. Now, if we look over here, the little green note to the right says you can use a bar diagram to solve an equation arithmetically. Here they have the example. Angelfish is 12 inches long. Clownfish, 8.5 inches. Work backwards to solve for C. Let's do example D. Let's do this problem to find out. It says, the highest recorded temperature in Warsaw, Missouri is 118 degrees Fahrenheit. This is 158 degrees greater than the city's lowest recorded temperature. Find the lowest recorded temperature. Well, we know it equals 118 degrees and 158 plus T. So find the lowest recorded temperature. 158 plus T, and I should say that T equals lowest temperature to find my variable. Okay, so that will be my equation. Now when I solve the equation, minus 158 minus 158, put your equal sign, and you will end up with T equals, that's going to be a negative 40 equals T. So T equals negative 40 degrees. now we're going to look at the addition property of equality. What does it state? The addition property of equality states that the two sides of an equation remain equal when you add the same number to each side. A equals B, or if A equals B, then A plus C equals B plus C. So in example 4, x minus 2 equals 1. To undo subtracting 2, you already know, you add 2. Make sure you line up your equal sign. Make sure it's a very nice spine whenever you do your problems. Plus 2, x equals 3. And you do the check step, replacing x with 3. Does 3 minus 2 equal 1? Yes, it does. So let's go on and do E, F, and G. To undo subtracting 3, you will add 3. Y equals 7. Does 7 minus 3 equal 4? Yes, it does. To undo subtracting 4, add 4, add 4, the equal sign, R equals 2. Let's do the check step. Does 2 minus 4 equal negative 2? Yes, it does. And then circle the answer once you know that it is true. To undo subtracting 8, add 8 equals adding 8. Draw your line. Q equals negative 1. Does negative 1 minus 8 equal negative 9? Well, add the opposite, and yes, it does. That is a true statement. Okay, pretty easy lesson here. Let's go to page 440. Example 5. In example 5, we have a word problem. It says, a pair of shoes costs $25. This is $14 less than the cost of a pair of jeans. Find the cost of the jeans. So, you write your equation. Shoes are $14 less than the jeans. Let J represent the cost of jeans. So they've defined their variable. J, cost of jeans. So 25 equals J minus 14. That's your equation. Solve the equation with the addition property of equality. 39 equals J. The cost of jeans is $39. If you were doing a model, J jeans is the whole distance. Shoes is 25 plus the unknown 14. 25 plus 14 equals 39. All right, let's go to letter H and try to do that problem. You can pause it and then come back and see if you have the correct answer. Welcome back. The average lifespan of a tiger is 17 years. This is 3 years less than the average lifespan of a lion. Write and solve an equation to find the average lifespan of a lion. So on this problem, you're going to have L minus 3 equals 17. And L will represent lion, or lion's lifespan. So, add 3, and you're going to have L equals 20. So the answer, 20 years. Don't forget to label your word problems. All right, let's go on to the guided practice. Once again, I know you all know the answers. You could just look at them, but we are working on the technique and lining up the equal signs. It will get harder. minus 6, minus 6, draw your line, line up your equal signs, n equals 2. Check step. 2 plus 6 equals 8. Yes, it does. Now let's go on to example number 2, or guided practice problem number 2. Minus 2, minus 2, line up your equal sign, 5 equals y. Check step. Does 7 equal 5 plus 2? Yes, it does. Circle your answer after you do the check step. Number 3, add 6, add 6. Negative 7 plus 6 is negative 1 equals C. Let's do the check step. Does negative 7 equal negative 1 minus 6? Well, when you add the opposite, yes, it does. Circle your answer. Now let's go to problem number 4. Orville and Wilbur Wright made the first airplane flights in 1903. Wilbur's flight was 364 feet. This was 120 feet longer than Orville's flight. Write an equation to represent the flights. Use a bar diagram if needed. Then solve to find the length of Orville's flight. All right, on this problem, I am going to use the equation D plus 120 equals 364. Now I need to solve for D. Subtract 120. And then you will have D equals 244. The answer, 244 feet. Do not forget your label. Question 5. What are two methods for solving a real-world problem that can be represented by an equation? One would be use a bar diagram. Let's see, another method would be to solve it algebraically. Using the properties, using math properties. So those are two different ways. Your homework assignment will be to do the problems on page 441. Also check the daily calendar to see if anything additional will be assigned. Have a good day.